Anybody ever have a toxic relationship in your life? Don't point to the person next to you. We can all have that sometimes. That spiritual toxin of the person, your relationship, influencing you. They can be distracting. They can be destructive in your life. They can be sort of poisonous to you in certain ways. Negative relationships are everywhere, aren't there? And we're not even going to talk about online today, because that's just like negative influences there. But what I want you to do today, this morning, is maybe picture somebody's face in your mind. Not who you want to punch, although they may go hand in hand. But somebody's face in your mind who's always critical, always griping, always harping on you, always bringing you down. Maybe somebody who's always tempting you in certain ways. Someone who you often, when you're around them, afterwards you just feel blah. You feel down. You feel worse. Could be a family member, could be a friend, could be a coworker, could be a neighbor, could be your pastor. I don't know. Hopefully not. But the truth is that we become who we hang out with. This is a lot of biblical scriptural principles are just life principles. Whether you believe in God or not, these things are true. Gravity is true, whether you believe in God or not. You reap what you sow, whether you believe in God or not. That's just how life works. And today, whether you or your friends believe or trust in Jesus or not, this is true, that bad company corrupts good character. You can write that down if you want to take notes. This is straight from Paul in 1 Corinthians. You've probably heard this before. The passage is in your notes. We're not going to turn there because all he says is bad company corrupts good character. And that's our main point for today. There are some people in our life who are filling us with poisons. And Paul says to the Corinthian church, bad company corrupts good character. You are the people you hang out with. You and I become like them. I think it was, I don't know if he's a Christian or not, but there's lots of different ways you can state this. Paul says bad company corrupts good character. Another person, I forget, you can Google it. They said you are a sum total of your five closest friends. We become like the people that we hang around, for the good or the bad. And we've got to be wise in our relationships because they do influence us in great ways. They can pollute us. They can corrupt us. They can pull us down. They can poison and destroy us spiritually, emotionally, mentally, sometimes even physically. That's when you know you really got to get help. Paul knew this. Obviously, he wrote that to the church in Corinth. He also wrote this to his son in the faith, Timothy, when he said, avoid godless chatter. Some of you, your co-workers, have a lot of godless chatter. Or your friends or family. Avoid godless chatter, Paul says, because those who indulge in it will become more and more ungodly. And Paul says their teaching will spread like gangrene. There's a visual for you this morning. I don't have gangrene for a visual illustration. I was actually going to show you some pictures I found on Google of gangrene. And I see Jim's looking down and he says no. And I didn't want to pass around the vomit bucket this morning. So if you want to help this, remember, stick in your brain what you can do after the service. Don't do it now, please, because I don't want puking. You can Google images of gangrene. And Paul says their teaching will spread like gangrene. Remember that today. That's your little visual reference. Some of you have seen gangrene, and you cannot forget it in your mind. So maybe some of you have had it, okay? Spiritual poisons, spiritual toxins, Paul says, in our lives can spread like a gangrene infection. And yet, how often do we hang out with people who are filling us with gangrene? Who have this spiritual infection, these toxins, like hazmat has been showing us, these toxins in our life that are filling us with spiritual gangrene. And we allow it in our bodies. You and I, too often, let in spiritual gangrene inside our bodies because we are hanging out or being with, now sometimes it's not a choice if it's your coworker, in the proximity of spiritually poisonous relationships spread to us like gangrene. I'll give you a few examples, okay? It could be somebody who is chronically negative. Do you know anybody like this? Chronically negative. Somebody always dragging you down. They're judgmental. They're critical. They're gossiping, complaining. Nothing's ever good enough for them. They have that mindset. We talked a few weeks ago about toxic thoughts and how that server is never going to be good enough, and we're always going to find a reason to badmouth the waiter or waitress. Right? Just looking for stuff. Chronically negative. Or maybe your bad company is a controller in your life. They might be manipulative, abusive, coercive, trying to get you to do things that you don't really want to do. Trying to control you, demanding, overbearing, intimidate you. Maybe they make you feel guilty. Maybe you're afraid of what happens if you get them mad. Because things are going to explode. And you're not going to like what they're going to say or do to you. Maybe your toxic influence relationship is a tempter. Hopefully nobody married can say this, but maybe the younger people or single, we'll say single people, maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend is trying to tempt you to get you to do things that you don't want to do, or even your spouse trying to tempt you to get you to do things that you know are not right. Maybe it's your buddies, your drinking buddies, and you're trying to stay sober, and they keep inviting you to go drinking with them or out to the strip club or do things that you know you should not do. Your friends, come on, we'll have some fun, tempting you to do these things. Maybe it's your boss, maybe it's your coworker trying to tempt you to trash talk about your boss. Okay, your coworker talking smack about the person over you and trying to get you involved in that conversation. Maybe a relationship you're in a relationship with a narcissist, somebody who's all about themselves. Or maybe you're in a toxic relationship with somebody who's just giving you continual drama. They're the drama king or the drama queen of the world, and everything is a huge situation. All the little things just get blown up. And a never ending. Maybe you're in a relationship where somebody always thinks they're right and you're always wrong. We don't have to point again. Maybe you know somebody, you're in a toxic relationship with them and they're stuck in this victimhood mindset. Where nothing, I said no pointing, Eli. Where nothing, uh-oh. Okay. We also offer marriage counseling after the service. Nothing is ever their fault. It's always somebody else who's the problem, and it's nothing that they ever did. They are not responsible for their actions. Maybe you're in a toxic relationship also with somebody who lies just continually, everything out of their mouth. You don't know whether to believe it or not. We've got more pointing in the back. I'm not going to acknowledge that. Now listen. We, as Paul writes in Romans, we are called to live at peace with everyone as far as it depends on us. We all agree with that? We know that verse? As far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. However, some people do not want to live at peace with you. And that makes relationships really, really difficult sometimes.
And so I gotta take a second just to speak on this. I'm stuck in these habits that I can't seem to quit. I know there's a God, but I don't speak on him enough. Life is full of poison, now it's seeping in my blood.